Good day, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, I'm going to be giving you a secret tip that can actually make you a more efficient supply and demand zone trader. Okay, so if you actually trade S and D, if you are a supply and demand zone trader, this video is for you because I'll be giving you a tip that will really help you. You already know that a supply zone is a zone from which a lot of selling was done. Okay, so big institutions actually sold from that zone, so you had a lot of selling pressure, so you are expecting that when price returns there, you'll be getting the same kind of selling, impulsive selling, so you can actually take advantage of that to sell and make money in the market. And you know that a demand zone is a zone from which a lot of buying was done. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive right into it. I have a demand zone right here. Let me get these horizontal lines and mark out my demand zone. I like including the week. Okay, I don't like a situation whereby I have a week extending from my zone, so I include the weeks also. You can see, so this is a very good demand zone, which is the last bearish candle before the bullish impulsive move, okay, which broke structure. You can see that structure was broken right here, so that's where I'll be marking as my demand zone, and you simply wait for price to get back there in order for you to buy. Okay, so you can see price tapped right into the zone right there, tapped on the top of the zone, which would have taken advantage of to enter a buy trade, and you can see the way price pushed in the upwards direction. Okay, so basically that's a demand zone. So let me give you an example of a supply zone. This is a supply zone. The zones are very easy to actually identify because you are going to clearly see the aggressive move, okay, which is usually characterized by same color candles, okay, pushing away from a particular level. Then the last opposing color candle before that impulsive move is what you are going to mark out as your supply or demand zone. So this, in this case, this last bullish candle before that aggressive push to the downside is my what? Is my supply zone. Okay, so I'm trying to mark it out. So right there I have my supply zone, then I'll wait for price to come back to that zone in order for me to actually enter a sell trade. And you can see how easy this played out in our favor, and it's pushed in the downward direction. So what is my tip? My tip is, one thing I have come to realize among supply and demand zone traders is that once the zone has paid them, most times they remove the lines from the chart, and the aim for doing so is that they want their chart to be clear, which makes sense, but you know, it's not a very good thing to do if you're a supply and demand zone trader. I'm going to explain. Okay, when a zone has paid you, there is something called killing two birds with one stone. Since that zone paid you, it shows that your zone was correctly identified. Let me get two more horizontal lines. It shows that your zone was what? Correctly identified. So you have done the job once. Don't remove the zones even if it has paid you. Okay, leave the zone right there. Okay, I will explain why I'm asking you to leave the zone. Now, a zone that is a supply zone, once it pays you, leave it there, because by the time price breaks that zone in the future, it automatically becomes a demand zone. A zone that is a demand zone, even if it has paid you, don't remove it yet, just leave it there. In the future, at some point in time, price is going to break that zone, and once it breaks the zone, it automatically becomes a supply zone if it was a demand zone before, and it becomes a demand zone if it was a supply zone before. So you removing the zone is like you missing out on a potential trading opportunity in the future. So that's the very important tip that I'm going to be giving you. Okay, so look at this zone. This zone is a very good example, which I showed you where it's paid off. Let's go to where it's paid off. Right here, see, price tapped into it right here and pushed in the upward direction. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that zone right there. It might take some days, or you know, it all depends. It doesn't matter, just leave it there. Whenever price is ready, price will come back to that zone and it's gonna pay. So look at this. Now what do we see happening? The zone got violated here with a candle breaking below it. Now it was a demand zone before, but right now it's going to act as a supply zone. So what do you see happening? Price tapped the other part of the zone, okay, came here, tapped into it, and it's trying to give us a downwards move. So it is now acting as a supply zone, but previously it was a demand zone. So what do we have? Look at this big push to the downside. It is acting as a supply zone right now, giving us selling opportunity. But if you are taking away these horizontal lines which stood as your demand zone, you wouldn't have seen it easily that region was about to become a supply zone. So that's the extra tip I have for you. If you learned anything from this video, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.